In this video, I interview Heidi Henderson, partner at Engineered Tax Services, a nationwide leading firm in cost segregation studies as well as R&D tax credits. And in this video, she shares how she was able to generate over $200,000 worth of pipeline with only $8,000 in ad spend. If this is something you're interested in leveraging for your own firm, then make sure to book a call after this interview. And with that being said, let's dive right in. What's up, guys? It's Daniel here with Wealthy Clients, and we have a super special guest on here. I was on her podcast last week. This week, she's coming on here with me. Please help me welcome Heidi.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I appreciate you being a guest. So the podcast is coming out shortly, and happy to be here chatting with you today.
Sweet. So tell everybody a little bit about your firm, which I know there's a couple different sub buckets in there with ETS, but tell everybody a little bit about your firm, who you serve, and what you offer.
Absolutely. So our firm is Engineered Tax Services, and we are a national specialty tax firm. So we don't actually do tax preparation. We specialize in tax credits and incentives. One of the most common being cost segregation. And we work in a few different areas. I mean, we work with a lot of CPA partners that refer business to us as the specialist to claim those benefits for their clients. But we also work with a lot of real estate investors directly to make sure that they're capturing all of those tax write-offs they're entitled to and really bringing that to market.
And just to clarify for any CPAs that are watching right now, they don't have to worry because you guys don't file tax returns, correct?
That's exactly right. Yep. We complement the CPA firms instead of competing. And that's very purposeful that we structured it that way.
Perfect. So what was the problem you had partner to reaching out and partnering with us?
The problem, if you want to look at it that way, is really we want to grow. Every company is really looking at how do we grow, how do we scale? And it's important for us and for our founder, Julio, to feel that he is creating these benefits and making sure that he's getting the word out for taxpayers that these benefits are there and that they can use tax dollars to reinvest in their personal wealth, their personal growth, and take those dollars and just really help build for their families, and also applying that to all taxpayers. So what we've found over time is we work wonderfully with our CPA partners, but as the CPA industry is busier and busier and overloaded, many times our tax professionals don't have time to be thinking about strategic opportunities, about tax credits or write-offs for their clients. And so we've really started to find that we have a lot of real estate investors that are uninformed, and they're looking for ways to reduce their tax and also areas that they can invest and continue, as I said, to build their family and their future wealth. So our problem was, okay, how do we actually take this to market so that we can do a little bit more business to consumer, if you call it that? They are business owners, but small investors, and really getting the word out to educate the public on very complex tax strategies that are oftentimes a little too hard to easily understand.
Got it. And obviously it's not your first rodeo, right? You've been with this company for over 20 years, so it's not the first time that you've seen something like this come along. And you're welcome to share how you put me head to head against somebody else if you'd like to. But I guess what made you partner with me specifically over all the other companies out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. We are in such a different era. And we have historically, as I said, worked with CPA partners, and we have worked on a referral-based relationship. We're getting referrals and we're helping from a very white glove perspective provide these really technical services. But we've seen this significant shift in the space where individuals are looking for more information and they're looking for that data. And then they're also coming to us to answer those questions. So in terms of scaling, first off, having a very long, extended educational conversation with every client is very difficult, especially when you look to scale. So number one, how do we create more education to create an educated buyer? And number two, how do we generate more leads so that our company can continue to scale and grow? As we're seeing these shifts in AI, We're seeing shifts with Google because AI is actually pulling a lot of traffic from Google, which has been a primary source of driving traffic, doing Google ads and SEO and all these things we hear about marketing. There's been a really significant shift, and we've seen that shift into social media. Historically, we've always said our clients aren't on social media. We're at a very high caliber business owner, professional, high net worth individual level as who we're typically working with. And what we started to realize is, wow, I think they actually are on social media. And the content that people are digesting is getting more professional and more, I think, refined. So we had this idea, let's try it. Let's just see what happens if we try some social media. So you were not the first person, I'm sorry, Daniel, I didn't find you first. But we tried working with a number of different providers to help us develop some social media. You know, what does it look like? Do we do videos? How do we record? How do we post? How are people generating leads? And I had a number of conversations with some firms that we work with that were seeing really dramatic growth. And I was asking them, how are you doing it? And they said, we're doing it through social media. And that's what started to get my wheels turning. And so, you know, I started with one group, started to work with them. You know, it was okay, but really wasn't triggering conversions and leads. And that's what I was after. So we worked that for 3 months, and then I shifted to another provider. So after 6 months, as I've continued to say, I'm just going to keep trying things. There was a time where I ended up with two options, two paths in my my trail, so to speak. It was you and another person. Someone else on my team wanted to work with this other person who was really going to boost the viewers and followers, actually by using certain types of bots and other things. I was like, well, you know, I really want to look at creating leads a little bit more. So yes, Daniel, I ended up finding you. I am one of those people that clicked on a social media ad. And there were a couple of reasons why I chose to schedule a meeting with you. Number one, I was like, hey, you know, I'm interested in what this guy's doing. Number two, he immediately sent me a text with a video. And in the background, my social media was on his computer, and he was, you know, very personable and saying, hey, you know, I see what you're doing, looking forward to talking with you. And so I was like, wow, this is actually a real guy. So that's refreshing in this era. And secondarily, when I got your confirmation page, you had a testimonial video like what we're going to do here. And it was one of my clients who I actually had seen a lot of increased activity with. And I was like, how are you doing it? He's like, social media ads. And here's a testimonial on Daniel's page. And I was like, well, go figure. So, you know, that's kind of interesting. I didn't get an intro, but found out that that was actually the secret sauce for someone else that I respect and I work with. And so there you go. That's how I stumbled upon your ad and how we started working together.
Thanks for sharing that. And there was a key in there that I think is really important. And, you know, I've said this to you because I think I've officially converted you into a direct response marketer. But at the end of the day, you can have 1 million views, but if you try and take that and deposit that at the bank, every bank teller is going to laugh at you in your face, right? So unless you have a way to actually convert those viewers into leads, into metrics that matter, which is, in my opinion, dollars in the bank account, then it's going to be hard to get traction on something that you can't directly measure to an increased bank account, client count, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess from your perspective, what do you feel like was so effective about the service, or was there anything in particular?
Well, I mean, what we're seeing, even just in a relatively short amount of time, is your understanding of how to communicate and put out a very clear message. So it's reaching the right people, it's addressing their pain points, and then there's a clear step or call to action. And so that was where I was a little bit lost, and I really appreciated your guidance in terms of saying, here, this is what you need to do, record this, I can handle the rest, because I don't want to be a social media expert. I don't want to live on the back end of Facebook trying to figure out algorithms and, you know, how to, you know, drop a video in front of the right person. I need to rely on somebody that really has that expertise. And, I was really impressed with how you helped guide that process. But not only once that was recorded, it was the ongoing continual improvement of it. It's not just, hey, let's try this, throw it out there and see what happens. I really appreciate your ambition and drive to understand our business, understand our target audience, to listen. I was so impressed because I shared some recorded calls with you, and the fact that you actually listened to them and then learned something and then said, hey, based on that conversation, I think we should do this. And then it has just continued to improve it. It's not even just, hey, let's do this and run with it. It was that ongoing relationship and improvement and tweaking that I think is really fantastic. And I really appreciate and respect, your attention on that and your care with, it's not just driving leads. It's that you are helping us drive qualified leads. So, I mean, we can't handle hundreds and hundreds of phone calls that aren't going to be the clients that we need to talk to and spend our time cultivating. And that's one of the most important things. Time is important for everybody. So there's a very fine balance. And I really appreciate your ability to tweak that and make sure that we're spending time on what truly is the most productive.
Totally. Yeah, a lot of people, I think we talked about this on the podcast, but a lot of people treat marketing and sales as two separate departments when really they work hand in hand. So I like to always use a feedback loop, right? Because what's happening on the sales calls can literally be your marketing ammunition to get more of those right calls on the calendar. And if you're not doing that, or your marketing department or your marketing agency isn't listening to those calls on a regular basis, like you sent me two yesterday, and you were like, hey, this is a level 9 and a level 7, right? And here's why. It allows us to make better creative that then goes out to fish in those markets and bring back more of those level 8, 9s, and 10s. That way you guys are working on deals that are highest leverage to your team, right? And to your business. Mm-hmm. So what, as a result of working together and implementing these strategies, what was the outcome?
Well, I will give you an example of 1 month. In 1 month, we spent somewhere between about $6,000 to $8,000, which might sound like that was a lot for us. It was more than we've ever spent on a social media push. But we decided we're gonna choke it down and try this. And so in that month, we spent between about $6,000 to $8,000 on social media ads. That created 172 appointments scheduled. Of those phone calls, I was actually impressed by how many were qualified. Sometimes you have people that don't show up. We still reach out and manage that, but it's not actually nearly as many as I expected in this type of a set of, structure. So we had a lot of people, show up for the calls, prepared to have a meaningful discussion. In that month, 172 scheduled calls, we have written just over $200,000 of engagements. And, that is pretty compelling. That's pretty significant. We've also generated over 550 leads. So these are people that have interest, that have confirmed that they meet the criteria, that they likely could benefit from our services. It allows us to continue to cultivate and build that pipeline. So it's, I think that's pretty compelling and dramatic.
That's awesome. So on your side, I guess, how has it impacted your life and business, or your position as a result of the strategies?
Great question. In terms of impact, I mean, we have really had to work around building a process to make sure that we have, it's not as easy as just, turn it on and we'll handle this, Daniel. We've had to build a process around it. So that has taken a little bit of time. We didn't actually expect it to be as successful as it has been. So it's been very busy, but busy is good. And we feel like this has absolutely been a problem we haven't been able to solve until now. And so I think the biggest change is it is actually making us think we need to redesign or restructure some of our processes as a whole to support this effort, and really rethink really our whole business model from sales and marketing components. So that's pretty interesting. And that's something that we're really working to build because I can see the benefits are pretty awesome.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, that's something that you and I are having constant conversations about is, hey, how can we shorten this cash flow conversion cycle? How can we shorten the sales cycle from the time somebody clicks to then actually paying and funding that first half, at least, of the cost segregation study, right?
Yep.
How can we streamline and process it or create processes around it to now move other pieces of the chessboard into this process so that you can tell me, hey, Daniel, time to double that ad spend because we have the key players in place to now handle this traffic.
That's exactly right. That's what we're looking at.
That's the next goal. I want us to be able to double, triple, 10x the ad spend. So where do you guys feel like you would be right now if you didn't take action and partner with us?
I mean, spinning our wheels, continuing to try different things. I mean, I would say I have tried some things. We have tried ad spend before. I have tried ad spend with other partners before. In the months prior to working with you, I spent some money on ad spend. I had 0 conversions, 0. And I didn't spend quite as much as what we've put out for this campaign. But it was enough that it should have generated something. So, I think you definitely have kind of cracked the nut with understanding how to utilize the platforms and the algorithms for whatever that is. But yeah, I mean, I would have been very frustrated at this point and wanting to just throw my hands up with not understanding how to move forward, if we hadn't met a couple months ago. So it's pretty awesome.
Totally. Totally. Now, if anybody's watching this right now and maybe they're on the fence with engaging us, what would you tell that person?
Be prepared. Have Daniel help you set up the processes. Be prepared for some follow-up and some hand-holding with clients, and set up a system to handle the leads. But by all means, go for it. I mean, it's really pretty amazing. And we love helping people. And we really are getting in front of the people that we want to help with the conversations that we want to have. And that's one thing that I personally love. It's the personal touch, and it's meeting real people and being able to help them achieve some of their personal and financial goals. So yeah, we get business from it. We're closing deals. But I honestly came into it a little bit guarded, I think, wondering, well, this sounds terrible, but maybe I had a conception that, well, this is going to be interesting. What is this person on the other side of this video call going to look like? This person that was on Facebook and clicked my ad. And it's really actually been shocking. We've had some fantastic conversations with wonderful new clients, very sophisticated people, doctors, physicians, real estate brokers, professionals. It's really been pretty phenomenal. So that's the biggest surprise.
That's awesome. Yeah, believe it or not, sophisticated buyers are on Facebook and Instagram for anybody watching.
Yep.
That's how you got here.
I mean, is this reflective of the fact that I don't view myself as sophisticated because I'm on there? Maybe we don't want to admit
it, but that's great. Well, Heidi, thanks so much for coming on here. Now, maybe somebody wants to partner with you or learn a little bit more about how they can start offering cost segregation studies, R&D tax credits to their clients. Where can they find you?
Oh, please. They can reach out to me directly. Again, it's Heidi Henderson with Engineered Tax Services. It is my first initial last name, H. Henderson at engineeredtaxservices.com. Social media, I've got a page, Engineered Tax Advice. So we're really working to provide meaningful content and education on many of these topics. I have a podcast and I love it. It's really for accounting, the accounting industry. and would love to have people listen and provide feedback so I can continue to have amazing guests. But would look forward to connecting. We also have an amazing affiliate program and work with many affiliates in the industry to help build out their ability to provide these services to their clients.
Awesome. Well, Heidi, thanks for hopping on.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for checking out the interview. If you're looking to get similar results for your firm, then make sure to click the button below where you can tell us a little bit about yourself, as well as set up a time to meet to see if we would be a mutual fit. Other than that, thanks for checking it out, and I'll see you on the next one.